like home. To the skeptic, it might sound crazy to believe in a God who loves. In a world where our hearts are breaking and we're lost in the mess we've made, like a blinding light in the dead of night, it's the gospel that makes a way. It's the gospel that makes a way. It's the cure for our condition. It's the good news for us all. It's greater than religion. It's the power of the cross. So can we get back to the altar, back to the arms of our first love? There's only one way to the Father, and He's calling out to us. To the captive, it looks like freedom. To the orphan, it feels like home. To the skeptic, it might sound crazy to believe in a God who loves. In a world where our hearts are breaking and we're lost in the mess we've made, like a blinding light in the dead of night, it's the gospel that makes a way. It's the gospel that makes a way. It's the gospel that makes a way. It's the gospel that makes a way.
The amazing news of the gospel is not that we can receive Jesus into our lives, but that He's already received us into His.
In my own life, it means forgiveness when I know I deserve the fall. It called me out of my darkness and carried me to the cross. In a moment, my eyes were open. In that moment, my heart was changed. Like a blinding light in the dead of night, it's the gospel. Oh, to the captive, it looks like freedom. To the orphan, it feels like home. Yeah, to the skeptic, it might sound crazy to believe in a God who loves. In a world where our hearts are breaking and we're lost in the mess we've made, like a blinding light in the dead of night, it's the gospel that makes a way. 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 It's the gospel that makes a way.
We have been called to follow Christ. We are to preach, we are to teach, we are to fight. So where you lead me, I will go. Touch my lips, by your strength I will go. I will go where you lead me, I will go. Where you lead me, who will go for us? I will go. I will go where you lead me, I will go. Where you lead me, here am I. Send me, Lord, I will go. Because my eyes have seen the King, I must tell all the world, worship Him. In all the nations, in all the world, where He sends me, yes, I will go. I will go where you lead me, I will go. Where you lead me, who will go for us? I will go.
you can, bring also like a metal spoon so that now when you bring it in, I can do this kind of thing. Testing. 1, 2, 3. This is Dr. Julie. Just checking to see if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
You.
Yes, I can hear you. I'm hearing you, Dr. Julie.
Okay, awesome. Just let me know when you're ready.
The person that's only welcome can go ahead.
I haven't seen Sister Bob as yet, so give her a few minutes, all right? Sister Bob, are you online with us?
What you're going through is not the end of you, it's the beginning now. You are in his hands. Be still and trust his plan. He'll make a way somehow. But while you're going through, let Jesus work on you. There's nothing else to do but be still and know he is God alone. He came to make you strong. Though it hurts for a moment, let him work on you. All you have endured is working for your good. Joy is on the way. Every test and trial lasts only for a while. He's building up your faith. So while you're going through, let Jesus work on you. There's nothing else to do but be still and know he is God alone. He came to make you strong, though it hurts for a moment.
You can go ahead, Sister Bob.
Nope.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. I would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us, the Health Ministries Department of the Mile and a Quarter Seventh-day Adventist Church, for this timely presentation. In this unprecedented time, to forget but ever to be remembered, Health Ministries is a dynamic ministry that addresses the whole person in developing, maintaining, and restoring optimum health in body, mind, spirit, and relationships. To achieve this, the biblical principles of health are incorporated and promoted in the 8 laws of health. And those laws are, these natural laws include getting fresh air, sunlight, known as the sunshine vitamin, exercise, pure water, good nutrition, adequate rest. Practicing temperance and trusting in divine power. No matter what the health is, whether physical, from a chronic disease, mental, emotional, or spiritual, you will find that practicing and obeying these laws will put you on the right track for healing to take place. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Bab, for your welcome. And I just want to say, as elder in charge of the health team at Mile Quarter, that what is going on in the world is opening our eyes to a very important message that we have. And I want to share with you some information from the Spirit of Prophecy, which I think is timely. And it says, leaders to practice and teach health reform. The Lord has presented before me that many will be rescued from physical, mental, and moral degeneracy through the practical influence of health reform. Health talks will be given as we have planned this evening. Publications will be multiplied. The principles of health reform will be received with favor, and many will be enlightened. The influences that are associated with health reform will commend it to the judgment of all who want light, and they will advance step by step to receive the special truths for this time. Thus, truth and righteousness will meet together. Review and Herald, June 18, 1914. And then she asked this question: why do some of our ministers manifest so little interest in health reform? It is because instruction on temperance in all things is opposed to the practice of self-indulgence. In some places, this has been a great stumbling block in the way of our bringing the people to investigate and practice and teach health reform. No one should be set apart as a teacher of the people while his or her own teaching or example contradicts the testimony God has given his servants to bear in regard to diet, for this will bring confusion. Disregard of health reform unfits us to stand as the Lord's messengers. In this end time, the health message is needed. So she says it's time to give up health-destroying indulgences. The subject of health reform has been presented in the churches, but the light has not been heartily received. The selfish, health-destroying indulgences of men and women have counteracted the influence of the message that is to prepare a people for the great day of God. If the churches expect strength, they must live the truth which God has given them. If the members of our churches disregard the light on this subject, they will reap the sure result in both spiritual and physical degeneracy. And the influence of these older church members will leaven those newly come to the faith. So those of us who are preparing for this end time, we cannot, it is impossible to leave off and ignore the health message and be prepared to be fitted for this time. I thank you for listening as we continue with our program.
a song of thanksgiving to God the Creator, triumphantly raised, who fashioned and made us, protected and stayed us, who guided us unto the end of our days. His banners are o'er us, His light goes before us, a pillar of fire shining forth in the night, till shadows have vanished and darkness is banished, as forward we travel from light into light.
His law He enforces, the stars in their courses, the sun in His orbit obediently shine. The hills and the mountains, the rivers and fountains, the deeps of the ocean proclaim Him divine.
We too should be voicing our love and rejoicing with glad adoration, a song let us raise,
till all things now living unite in thanksgiving to God in the highest, Hosanna and praise.
our love and rejoicing with glad adoration, a song let us raise.
Till all things now living unite in thanksgiving to God in the highest, Hosanna and praise.
Let us pray. O most loving and heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us here on this platform another Sunday evening as we participate in our Sunday night service. We ask that you bless us all, dear Father, those who are soon to come and those who are already on. We ask that you will have mercy on us, bless the proceedings that as we go through tonight. Help us, dear Father, to continue to remember that our bodies are your temple as we seek to strive for good health to take care of those temples. Dear Father, we pray that you will continue to bless us in our message as we seek to embrace the 8 laws of health, New Start. Dear Father, we pray that you will be with the speaker for the evening, inspire her and fill her with message that will be health to our bodies, our hearts, and our minds. And as we go forward to spread the message and the good news of you and also of the need to take care of our health. We pray that you will bless our week of our health week of activities, dear Father, as we present night after night. We ask that you will continue to guide us in our endeavor to serve you and to spread your gospel and to continue to live in good health. This we ask in your holy name through Christ our Lord. Amen. We will now have the scripture reading, which is taken from Psalm 139, verse 14. It says, and this is the King James Version, I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. This is the word of the Lord. Amen.
Sister Bob, you can unmute your mic and go ahead.
Thank you. Dr. Julie Hayek has over 30 years in health education in neuropathic medicine and is an international speaker and author. She was chosen as the Professional of the Year in Neuropathic Medicine by Cambridge Who is Who in 2009 and 2010. Dr. Julie has a PhD, MBA, MSPH, and a BBA. And she's a master herbalist, Maya Massology, and nationally certified. Dr. Julie has a practice in Detroit, Michigan for a number of years, and her presentations have been deemed practical and comprehensive, focusing on the whole person, the mind, the body, and the soul. Dr. Julie is an energetic speaker, interactive and engaging with the audience. She has written many books, manuals, and workbooks on various health topics. She has given boot camps, 1 and 2 minute health nuggets, and many seminars. She has been instrumental. She has been an instructor and professor at several colleges and universities for 13 years. Her fundamental training has come from Heartland College, and mainly the late Dr. Agatha and Calvin Trash from UC Pines Institute. These doctors were counselors and mentors in areas of health and healing. They were like parents guiding her in the work of God. I will now invite Dr. Julie Hayek to speak to us. Thank you.
Hi, we aren't hearing you right now. Dr. Julie, we aren't able to hear you.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Same thing. Mm-mm.
We aren't hearing you still.
Her mic is muted, it looks like.
Somebody's trying to get in contact with her. Just hold for a minute.
Hello? Hello? Yeah, not hearing me. We can't hear you. That's what it says. Hello? You can?
We can hear you now.
You can hear me now? Okay, thanks. Thank you. All right. I probably should start over. Basically tonight, we're going to be talking about boosting your immune system and overall health. The reason why is because we have to understand what the immune system is all about. It's a good idea to be able to take a class on anatomy and physiology because it gives us an idea of how wonderfully and beautifully that we are made. And with that, once we understand about our immune system being like an army fighting, it's going to help us overall to understand what we can do to help our body stay strong. So first and foremost, what exactly is the immune system? I can't read my slides. The immune system works 24/7, and the main goal is to keep us healthy. The immune system also neutralizes threats. So it's just like if we have military, right? What happens is that whatever's nearest to that area that's being attacked, different parts of our body have part of our immune system. And so with that, it's in all different parts of our body, and they can go into that area and be on alert in order to help in bringing about neutralizing those threats. The immune system also protects you from external dangers like pathogens and environmental toxins, as well as internal threats like cancer cells. We all have cancer, but the only time that we really truly have cancer is when those cancer cells get out of control and they're multiplying very rapidly, and it brings those numbers up where we get sick. Whereas if we have it at a certain range, they're not doing really anything in the body. With that, our immune system is very awesome in the way that it can help us. And it actually, just like I said earlier, it's like a military. So healthy immune system is quick in fighting those threats. When you have strong immune system, the body tends to feel energetic, optimistic, and healthy. And I'm very sure that each and every one of you want to feel energetic, you want to feel optimistic, and you definitely want to feel healthy. Because if you don't have these things, then in life, you probably are not feeling very well at all. So the immune system, when it's weak, what happens is when you're not healthy, the immune system doesn't function properly. And with that, that means you're probably feeling sick or you are sick. You have low energy, your mood is impacted, you're probably walking more like, with your head down and slow or something, or you just don't even feel like getting out of bed. When that takes place, you know that there's something wrong. And the best thing to do is when you feel something that's quite not right, is when you need to do something right then and there. You need to knock it right away, because if you don't, then it will linger on and it will get worse. So the longer you wait, the harder it is to be able to get strong again and healthy. Another thing is apathy, depression, fatigue caused by overtaxed immune system zaps your zest for life. And that's why it's so important that we also look at the 8 laws of health. The 8 laws of health is, one of them is drinking water. If we're drinking plenty of water, this is also going to help us to stay healthy. Another thing is making sure that we're getting rest at night. And if you can't get the rest at night, I would encourage you to increase your exercise. If you increase your exercise, maybe do some extra exercise where you're doing like weights or something like that. It will fatigue your muscles, and that will also make you want to drink more water. And then it will also make you feel healthier, where you want to eat better, and you'll also sleep better at night. So each one of these 8 laws, they're kind of interconnected to help us be able to follow them. And so I encourage you, these simple remedies, the 8 laws of health, are so key, because every day is a new start. Every moment is a new start. As long as we can get our mind in gear with those, and we can check them off as we go along during the day. So how exactly does the immune system work? Well, basically, the immune system goes to work on colds, flus, viruses, and they fight foreign invaders. It needs energy to do so. And that's why people need to have rest in order to sleep. So then that way they have enough energy inside of them so their immune system can fight back. When you have mental fatigue and general apathy, it helps to safeguard energy so that your immune system has resources it needs to beat the cold or the flu or whatever that inviter is that gets into your body. That's why when I look at the immune system, I look at it as having military all over in our body, trying to fight whatever's trying to get in. So what is a mast cell? Well, a mast cell is part of those cells of the immune system. As you can see on this slide, they're found in most tissues throughout the body, especially those that interact with the outside environment, including your lungs, your GI tract, and your skin. Each one of these areas is very vital. Viruses can get in that way. You can get in other things from like toxic things that we breathe in. So that's very important to understand that the environment is also a key area of understanding that that too can bring harm or danger inside of our system. Mast cells are well known for releasing histamines during allergic reactions, such as pollen or insect stinging, because some people do have allergies to these things, and therefore their body may blow up and get big, and therefore they need something in order to help that, which is a histamine type of medicine. Let me go on. This slide here shows us the different types of white blood cells. White blood cells are part of our fighters. These different ones help us to understand which type of problem that you're fighting. So when we look at this from your blood test, we can kind of tell what blood cell, what white blood cell is working on what. And maybe if you have this problem or that problem, just by looking at one of those, we can tell the difference of what's going on inside the system. So how does the immune system work? Cells fight off invaders. They kill and they clean up cells. They work with the lymphatic system to clean and clear out. And this involves inflammation that takes place in the body. So when inflammation takes place, it can be either good or bad. If you sprain your ankle, you're going to have inflammation by the ankle bone, meaning that it's going to get big, it's going to swell, because that's where they're going in to help clean up the system and help to heal the healing process. But if you have inside inflammation that you don't even know about, it could be one of your organs and you're not feeling quite right. Maybe your pancreas is not working right. Maybe your liver's not working right. But if it has any inflammation in that area, what's going to happen is that it will start slowly giving you different signals that things are not quite working properly. And that should give you a key to do something right away. And if you don't, then what happens is over a period of time, like months or even years, if this buildup of inflammation continues, then that becomes a very critical and very bad situation, because inflammation should not last more than days, weeks, or even a month, because that's acute. But if it lasts longer than that, that means it's chronic. And that's how we get these other diseases like diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and things like that. So that's why we have to understand that with the immune system, you're also going to see inflammation in our body that takes place because those cells that are protecting us are the ones that are going out into the area and taking care of this situation. A little bit about COVID-19. Here's a nice slide to show you a little bit what takes place with the lungs and how it gets filled and at different processes. As you can see, the top there, it's on the outside, and then it goes in and it gets into the protein, and then it starts filling up the alveoli and the lung area, and then we have more of a problem. So just to let you know that As soon as you don't feel right, that is the time to do something, not to let it linger on. Because if you wait too long, then you're going to have more problems. So we don't want you to go through all of that, because when you get to that last stage, that's severe, and we don't want that. That's why on the first symptom, when you first feel like you're not quite right, that's the time to drink a glass of water, because with more water, that will help to start getting things flowing, because once your blood is flowing, that's going to also get nutrients in the area. It's going to help the blood to be less thick. And so that's one thing that you want to do. So another thing is this inflammation, the acute and the chronic I just talked about, and how each one of those work. If you have acute situations, like if you sprain an ankle, if you get a cut or a sprain, that brings on inflammation into the area. We just don't want chronic inflammation to take place, because that can create huge problems. Autoimmune disorders, general stress are common causes, and that can create bigger problems. So where exactly inside of our body do we have our immune system? Well, it's everywhere. We have our tonsils, our lymphatic nodes and vessels, our thymus, our appendix, our bone marrow, all of the, in our spleen, all of these areas we can see makes up the immune system. And the reason why this is important is because if we see that it's in every area of our body, that means we have military everywhere ready to go, ready to fight off whatever tries to get in as an invader. So the immune system does not have one specific organ, but it works with many organs and systems, as you can see from that picture. So simple actions to regain health and support your health. Most people are running all over, just getting anything possible to get something to feel good or make sure that they don't get sick. Over the last few years, since we had COVID come in at the life, actually at Country Life, where I have a practice, we're seeing lots of people coming in. 5 to 10 new people have been coming in almost every single day, because they're looking for some alternative methods. They're looking for something that's going to help them. And this is the reason why more and more people are thinking about their health. And this is one reason why I believe that the health message is so key, because right now is the time that we can share the health message with people, and people are ready to grab onto that health message and see that there's something about getting well, feeling well, and knowing that you are well. So here are some simple steps in order to keep you healthy. Number one is sleep. Reducing sleep by 90 minutes for just one night can reduce your daytime alertness up to 32%. If it's untreated with a sleep disorder, can have long-term effects, such as high blood pressure, stroke, heart failure, obesity. So sleep is vital for health and performance and well-being. For a robust immune system, we must get enough sleep. If you want to have energy, you must get enough sleep. When you prioritize your sleep, you support the release of hormones that keep the immune system strong. And 35% of adults in the United States are not getting their recommended sleep. Therefore, it leads to fatigue, mood difficulties, and poor health. And I want to think that most places around the world, especially in the year 2021, a lot of people are not getting enough sleep because of the environment, because of the things that are going on in the world today. People are worried, people are concerned, people are afraid. And so that causes them to get bad or not enough sleep. So if you're struggling to fall asleep or to sleep peacefully throughout the night, you need to take a look at simple lifestyle changes. So what are those simple lifestyle changes? Simply this: don't eat a heavy meal at night, because that means your body, your stomach has to go to work and to get that food processed and moved through. And that takes at least 4 to 5 hours. Another thing is control the temperature. If you have one of those pillows that have a cool gel on top, it's a really good thing, because it helps to keep your head cool at night so you can sleep. They say that you should probably put your temperature in your room lower, so then that way you can fall asleep better at night. Tracking your sleep, some people like to do that just to see if you're getting all the REM cycles in. And avoid screen time at night, meaning you should not have a TV in your bedroom. You shouldn't be on your computer or your laptop or your phone or your iPad at night, especially an hour or so before you go to bed. And the reason why is because the light from that goes into our eye and it signals our brain to be more alert and awake. Other things that we can do for simple lifestyle changes for sleep would be making sure that you're not drinking caffeine. Caffeine consumption can make you more alert. Tire yourself out with physical activity. Wake up every morning by working out. Read a book to help you wind down. The next thing that you can do besides sleep is to hydrate, meaning make sure that you're drinking plenty of water. Whatever your weight is, times that by 0.55, and that's how much water you should get every day. If you talk for an hour, you should drink another glass of water. If you're working out, you should drink another glass of water. Now, if you don't like water, put a little something in there. You can put a little sprig of peppermint in there, or you can put some lemon in there, or you can put maybe some blueberries, strawberries, or whatever. And you can put that in there as well to kind of help you. So then that way you will want to drink more water with a little bit of flavor in there. The next thing is eating things that are whole. If we would just eat more raw fruits and vegetables, that would be a really good thing, because most of us like to eat cooked food because we're always on the go. And when you eat cooked food, it's very easy to swallow. You don't even have to chew it very much. And that's the problem with most of us. We don't chew our food. So we need to get back to the raw stuff so we can start chewing and chewing and chewing. I have a little saying that says, chew, 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 because it's good for you. And the reason why it's good is because it gets the enzymes in our mouth to be a part of that whole process of digesting. Without that process of those enzymes here cause a problem as it gets down into the stomach, because now it is lacking those enzymes to truly break down the food. So it's very important that we chew, chew, and chew. Another thing to consider is maybe intermittent fasting. And the reason why that has been such a good thing is because people are starting to take about 12 to 16 to 18 hours where they're not eating any food. And if you're on a 2-meal diet program, you're definitely intermittent fasting, because you might eat at 7 o'clock in the morning for your breakfast, and then you end at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 3 o'clock in the afternoon with your second meal. And in between those meals, you have at least 5 to 6 hours. And therefore, after 3 o'clock, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, that's 16 hours right there where you're fasting. So that's why intermittent fasting is so good, because it helps to reset your immune system. And during periods of fasting, the body recycles old immune cells and replaces them with new ones, basically refreshing your immune response. And this is the process of degrading a cell's mitochondria, which is the powerhouse cell, known as mitophagy. Research also believed that immune reset only occurred during prolonged or multi-day fasts. Well, in research in 2019 in the New England Journal of Medicine, they saw that there's similar benefits practicing intermittent fasting, which means you can still eat, but making sure that your evening hours you're not eating, and that plays a huge role in being able to have that time set aside. So common windows is from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or even 12 to 8. Only eating during a restricted window will give your body time to rejuvenate. And it's very important that we give our body time, so then that way at night, it can also be able to go to sleep at night. So one thing we need to do also when it comes to food is to limit the processed foods and sugars. If you can just get rid of all of that together, that would be the best thing. So the first foods to eliminate to have strong immune system is fast food, sodas or pop, and ultra processed foods. Make sure you're reading your food labels and you know what you're eating. Grocery store, you have to look at those food labels. If you don't, you're going to be getting stuff that your body doesn't even know what it is. It's full of ingredients that you've never heard of. That means that you need to keep it on the shelf. If you can't pronounce the word, you need to keep that item on the shelf. So another thing for examples here is like Cheetos, Twinkies, Oreos. We need to avoid those kind of foods because they have a lot of chemicals in there that our body can't recognize and it doesn't know what to do with it. Diet soda is also packed with human-made chemicals, even more dangerous than sugar. Chemicals found in diet soda wreak havoc on our digestive health, and our gut plays a central role in our immune function. So if our gut is not well, our immune system more than likely will not be well as well. If you do crave soda, there is a soda pop called Zevia, which the sweetener is stevia. But still with that, it still has that soda fizz. So at least it's a step better. But I would say if you can start drinking water with lemon in it, would be your best thing to do. When it comes to oils, highly processed oils such as vegetable oils, corn oil, and soybean oil, they all contain unhealthy fats that cause inflammation and stress on your immune system. Yes, I said vegetable oils, corn oil, and soybean oil. What you want to do is you want to opt for extra virgin olive oil. They call it EVOO. And that one you would use for room temperature use, like for salad dressings and stuff like that. They have these points, and this is a low smoke, meaning that you don't cook with that. If you're going to cook with oil, it would be coconut oil and avocado oil because it has a higher smoke point. But if you can just avoid all oils, that would probably be even better. The only way, but sometimes if you're making certain things, but not every single day. So prep whole foods ahead of time. What are whole foods? It's basically nuts, seeds, vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains. These are the ones that God has given us, and they make up a balanced diet. Use large batches of quinoa, rice, vegetables. Portion out these things, freeze the portions that won't be used within 4 days. So then that way everything stays fresh. The next thing is that we can do is to exercise. Why do we want to exercise? Because we have about 840 muscles if you count every single muscle in our body. And if you get your heart rate up, you need to do it at least 3 times a week. Aerobic exercise like jogging, light swimming, get your heart rate up to 20 to 30 minutes 3 times a week, reduces the inflammation in your body. It also supports the immune cells recycling and lessens your stress. Don't need to push yourself to get benefits either. Just as long as you break a sweat, you're doing something good for your body. Over intensive exercise can dampen your immune response, such as elite athletes have higher rates of upper respiratory tract infections during times when they're training the hardest. So just know that if you're pushing yourself too much, maybe you should only do it 3 times a week instead of 5 or 6. So what is the right type of exercise? The one I think is the one that you enjoy, whether it be walking, jogging, swimming, cycling, doing yoga, Tai Chi, CrossFit, rollerblading, speed walking, riding your bike, whatever that may look like for you, as long as you're moving your muscles, that's the most important thing. So daily stretch. This is really key too, because it gets those muscles ready to start working out. Stretch as we age is critical, and it should be done every single day, because flexible muscles are the cornerstone of mobility. Pulled muscles, joint pain, joint injuries occur when tight muscles inhibit movement, meaning they don't move so good. Look up stretching plans that target overall mobility, like your hips, your knees, and your thoracic spine. These areas are the ones that most people have injuries with, and I'm going to be sharing a salve for that in our demonstration. Don't skip resistant training. To me, this is one of the most important things you can do once you get to be 35, because we start not doing any type of resistant training. So we need to, you don't have to lift heavy weights. Resistant training is also called strength training, which targets building your muscles. As we age, our muscle mass slowly decreases, and because of that, muscle facilitates movement and influences our mental and physical abilities, and exercise helps to safeguard muscle mass as you age. That's why it's so important to be able to do that. When you keep your muscles strong, you decrease your risk of osteoporosis and other injuries, feel more energetic, intelligent. It reduces your risk of illness and chronic disease. Greater muscle mass burns more fat, and you look and feel awesome. So aim at least 2 to 4 times per week to do that. The other thing is mental health. Mental health is so important. A lot of people have stress. A lot of people have anxiety disorders, emotions, nervous system problems, depression, psychological illnesses, personality problems, hard to cope, social problems. And so therefore, we need to look at our immune system and how it works with our emotions. Intimately connected, very much. Getting sick can lead to feelings of depression. So can emotions influence our immune system? Yes, it can. Researchers now know that the way we feel directly imparts our immune system response, and negative emotions like stress and anger, our immunity weakens. But when we are happy or relaxed, it strengthens our immune response and enhance. And where do we find that in research? I would say look in your Bible in Proverbs 17:22. The mind-body connection is one of the newer fields of wellness research. However, I've been doing this for 30 plus years, and research is just now starting to back up what we've been talking about in the last 30 some years. That's how long I've been with UG Pines, or been familiar with UG Pines, probably like 33 years. But with that is when I started learning all of this. So how does this all work? You see, your emotions release hormones, and those hormones from the brain releases that chemical messengers, and chemical messengers are also hormones that directly influence your immune response. So to strengthen your immune system, you need to create habits that foster positive feelings, reduce the exposure to negative feelings, and this is what you can do in order to boost your immune or your mood. Practice gratitude. Say thank you more often. Be happy about things that you see around you, the benefits that you have every single day. Take a 7-day no complain challenge, meaning you're not going to complain about nothing. Anytime that you're ready to complain, stop it and just say, praise God. Something to just know that you need to stop the negative thought. The next thing is meditation. What's a really good thing is when in the morning, when you get up and you read your Bible, find a Bible promise, write it on a card, put it in your pocket. So throughout the day, you can meditate upon that scripture. Another thing is limit your social media. Don't use so much time on Facebook, TikTok, and whatever else they got. Limit that time. Get more in nature. Visit people. Limit the news consumption, because with the news, we listen to the news so much that whether it be on the radio, whether it be on the TV, whether it be on your iPad or whatever, where you can find the news from the internet, we need to limit that, because the more that we look at that, the more we get negative, and it affects our mood. So being safe during COVID. Number one, what we want to do is that if you feel that you need to wear a mask, especially if you're not feeling well, you should wear a mask. But I would say if you're not feeling well, you should probably stay home. Number two, keep a distance. If you're feeling like you need to keep a distance with somebody, do that, because let me tell you, our mind is what tells us different things and how we feel, because those two are so closely connected that it does make a huge difference. So stay at a distance if you don't know the person very well or whatever, if that's how you feel. The other thing is number three, check your oxygen level. Make sure that you have optimal level for your oxygen level. You can get one of those pulse meters, oximeters, and it will also check your oxygen and your heart rate. If that starts going 90 or less, that means there's a problem with your oxygen level in your system. Number four thing you can do is limit your indoor exposure. Yeah, indoor. You need to get outside. You need some of that vital sun, because vitamin D is a huge vitamin where it's linked to a lot of different health issues. So we want to make sure that we're getting some air outside, because we need that good fresh air outside plus the sun. Number five is wash your hands with regular soap. It's very good to wash our hands, because we don't know, we pick up stuff, we're touching different things. And so it's very, very easy to pick up something and then we touch our face. Number six is use hand sanitizer. It needs to be at least 60% or higher. I think 80 is better, but I've noticed that Most hand sanitizers today, they're at least 60 or 65. So immune supporting supplements that I would recommend is vitamin C. It protects your immune system as an antioxidant and supplies that vitamin C when you don't get it from your food, and it is water soluble. So if you've taken too much, you will have the runs or diarrhea. So then you need to cut back. And some people, I would put them on at least 4,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day, especially if they're not feeling well, because they need that extra boost. The next thing is vitamin D. That's the best, is sunshine. However, if you're not getting enough sun every day, at least anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes, depending on how dark your skin is, will denote how much sunlight you actually need. Especially if you have milk allergies, lactose intolerance, stick to a vegetarian diet, get limited sun exposure. But vitamin D is the key. Omega-3 is another one. It's anti-inflammatory nutrients. It's essential for physical and mental health. So where do we get omega-3? Walnuts, flaxseed, pumpkin seeds. Those are the best things to get it from. And so another thing is resveratrol, balance your immune response. If your immune system is weak, it helps rev it up. Or you can, if you have muscadine grapes, that's another way you can get that. There's liver detoxing is really good because it helps keep clean the environmental toxins and harmful compounds in poor diet with stress on the liver. Probiotics is another thing. Protect your digestion and support immune system. And there's a mushroom extract that you can also get to help fight against different viruses, bacteria, and infections. So now what I want to do is some demonstrations on hydrotherapy and natural treatments. So what we're going to be looking at is heating compresses are really good. And after tonight, you'll know how to do those. Also hot and cold showers. This is something that you can do because most people have showers in their home instead of bathtubs. So you can do a 3-minute hot, as hot as you can stand it, and then 30 seconds cold, as cold as you can stand it, and you do it 3 times. So it's 3 minutes hot, 30 seconds cold, 3 minutes hot, 30 seconds cold, 3 minutes hot, 30 seconds cold. Do that every day. And let me tell you, that's going to boost up your immune system. Another thing you can do a hot and cold foot bath. You can do hot foot baths. You can do fomentations. You can get a massage. And then the herbs that I would say to be key players when it comes to respiratory and keeping your immune system up would be mullein, horehound, astragalus, pine needles, the ones that are long, golden seal and echinacea. Those 2 are the ones that I go to the most. Garlic, myrrh, buku, ginger, sage, wild cherry bark, gutta cola. Oregano is another one that I've used to help treat people with COVID. Eucalyptus, peppermint, and lemon. These are all really good herbs. You can use some together, or you can use them as single by themselves. So now we're going to go right into the Hydrotherapy 101. The first thing we're going to do is a facial contrast. So what does that mean, and how do we do that? First and foremost, why would we use it? Well, first thing is because it relieves sinus pressure, it expels mucus, it decreases inflammation, and the needed equipment for this would be a large towel, a bowl of hot water, a bowl of cold water, some salt if you like, because salt seems to be really good. And if you have a hard time holding your nose without pinching it, then you might want to use a snorkel, just the part that goes up, right? But that's optional. There's also another way that you can do it where you can breathe from your mouth and you just lift the tub to a certain part. So it's getting from the top of your lip to the head, to your forehead. All right. So basically what the main key here is to put your head in the hot water for 3 minutes and then immediately repeat into cold water for 30 seconds. And you want to do this anywhere from 3 to 5 or 5 to 7, depending on how bad you are.
Should this be done by diabetic person?
Yes. To the end, at the end. Okay, so if you have any questions, I'm going to cover these at the end. So as we go through this, I know one question was, should you do this on diabetic? A diabetic should be fine doing this. So what I have here, if you can transfer me right here, right? Yeah, that should be good. Okay, so what I have here is I have hot water in here and I have cold water in here. As you can see, the ice and everything in there. So what we're going to do, if some people can't hold their breath, we like to give out little snorkel. Not the glass part here, but this part here, where you put your mouth over it. So I have Dandra, which is going to share with you how to do this. So we're going to do 3 minutes hot and 30 seconds cold. And we also have some Kleenex, because when you do this, you're going to be blowing your nose. All right, so, and a towel just in case, if you need that. And when you're doing this, if you don't want to expose your whole head in there because it's hard to hold your breath, if you tilt this up in a way where your mouth is here and the top of your lip here, so then that way when you're in there, you can actually breathe from your mouth, which is very helpful. All right, so we have hot water here and cold water here. No, yeah. So one thing I like to do is get my timer out on my phone, and then that way we can time it. All right. Okay. So we put salt in there as well. So this is done for 3 minutes. And so sometimes if you're trying to, if you can't do it all the time, like she doesn't have anything, so she's holding her breath. And as she holds her breath, sometimes you have to come out, but you try to stay in there as long as you can for those 3 minutes. And if you have a really bad sinus problem, or even earache, it helps because it'll clear out the mucus in that area of your sinuses and your throat. 18 seconds. We're almost done with the 3 minutes. All right. Okay. So what we want to do with that is we want to go quickly into the cold. Oh, I bet that's cold. Uh-oh. "30 seconds. Okay. And what happens a lot of times too, you might have to blow your nose. Okay, so she would do that a set of 3 to 5 to 7 times, depending on how bad her case is. And then also we have water, just in case you might need water. All right, so the next thing that I want to share with you is a heating compress. A heating compress. Now you're going to say this is kind of crazy, because a heating compress, you should be using hot water. Well, no, we don't use hot water. So they call it a, okay, there we go. So a heating compress What you would do is you take something that's going to be a strip that's going to go around the neck, right? So with that, this is called a heating compress, but we're going to put it in the cold water, right? And as we get it in there, then we're going to squeeze out the excess cold. So it's really, really, really cold. It's really cold. And then I take plastic and I put that around. And then I take a heavy sock, or if you have flannel, that will work too. And then I take a pin and then I pin that all together. And this can be put on for overnight, 3, 4, 5 hours. You can keep it on overnight, 8 hours if you like. This is so good for sore throat, hoarseness, tonsillitis, strep throat, laryngitis, and even earache. So this is a really great thing. Feels good, doesn't it? Yes. And it was nice and cold. Now, the reason why we call it a heating compress and we use cold is because we're working with the body. So the body is what's really doing it, right? All right. All right, so the next thing is, we need to move that. The next thing we're going to do is a fomentation. So when we do a fomentation, right? That's good. So when you're doing a fomentation, if you're using, I might have to redo that. If you're using your bed or something, what you want to do is maybe use a plastic. This is a shower curtain. And so you would put it on your bed to protect it so it doesn't get wet, right? Then you'll take a sheet. Of course, you put that down. And then I'm going to use LJ. He's the one that's going to get a hot fomentation across the chest, because if someone is having a problem with their chest, right, like they're having a hard time breathing. I had a guy come into Country Life that wasn't feeling very well. And so he really wanted to go to work. So I had him come in and I just did a simple treatment. I did this hot fomentation on his back and mostly on his chest because he wasn't able to breathe very well. Yeah, so what I'm going to have them do is I'm going to have them lay down with your face here, right? Of course, you wouldn't have full clothes on. But at Country Life, I had the guy just take off his shirt, and then I just did the simple treatments like that. I had a microwave that was put up there for me to be able to do the treatment as well. So you want to make sure that they stay warm. You don't want them to get chilled or anything like that as well. And so what you would do is, if you have a fomentation, okay. All right, so basically, if you have one of these, which is a fomentation pack that's made, if you want these, just let me know. We can get these ordered for you, and you can get these, which is very nice because they hold the heat better. And the other thing that you want to do is you want to have a wool blanket that you can cut up, right? So when you're doing this, you want to have at least 2 or 3 of these, and you will get them wet, and then you'll roll them. You squeeze out some of that excess water. And what I like to do is I like to put them in a plastic bag, and I'll put them in the microwave, and I usually put them on for about 15 to 20 minutes. I like them super hot. And then the other part is, if you don't have this, you can use towels. They don't hold the heat as long, but if you have thicker towels, same thing. What I would do is I would fold it like this, so it'd be almost like one of the packs, right? And then, so it'd be just like this. So that would be like equivalent to one of these packs. And then so I'd get it wet, and I would fold it up, roll it up like this, and I would wring out the excess water. And then you would put these in a plastic bag, put them in the microwave for about 10, 15, 20 minutes. And the reason why I put them on so long is because once it goes in there, it's going to take a while for them to actually heat up. Once they heat up, then you will pull them out. So you'll have this situated like so. And then when you pull it out, it's going to be hot. So then you have to hurry up and put it like this, and you fold this over and you fold that over. Then as you are getting ready to put it on the person, you're going to put a towel down first because you want to protect them. So this is their skin, and then you have this towel to protect, and then you take this and you put it on, and then you cover them up. I also have a blanket if I need to put a blanket over the top as well. And then I'm always in communication with the person, and I'm asking them, is that too hot? Is it hot anywhere? If it's hot somewhere, all I do is I just do a little bit like this. All you're doing is you're just lifting it up a little bit, let a little air in there, and that usually helps. And this will be on for about 5 minutes. So what I do is with the other one that I have rolled up, I have it in the microwave, and I put it on for 5 minutes. So when I put this on, I know that it's going to be 5 minutes. And once that is done, washcloth. Once that is done for those 5 minutes, I take this off and I get my washcloth and I put it in the cold water, and I'll take this and I will rub him down. I don't know where the washcloth went. There it is. There's one in there, right here. So we take the washcloth and we just, whoo, that's cold, right? And then we put that back in there, and then you wipe them dry, and you put a new towel that's dry over the top there. And then you take this hot one out all over again, right? And you take it out, and then you wrap it up and you put it on.
Would you have a heat back on the back? Yes.
Oh, yes. That's another thing too. You can put heat on their back. So before you put this one on, you can also, if this is another hot one that you have a hot one inside here, if you have them lift up, you'll put it on their back. So that way you can keep that one there for the whole period of time while you're doing this. So that's why you're going to have at least 3 to 4 towels, probably 3 towels if that's what you're going to use instead of your hot pack like this. So one will be on the bottom, one will be for here while the other one is being hot. So then that way these two will be interchanged back and forth. And in between these hot ones, you're doing the cold over the top, right? The other thing is, another thing that you can do besides when you put in the heat pack here, we usually put people with their feet in hot water. You don't always have to do that, but you can. This is very good because it's more pointed to the area of where you're trying to help them. Since he has a cough and he has a cold and he's not feeling good, he's congested, this is good because the heat is on his backside and then also on the front. So that way the mucus, the airwaves, and all of that can be eased out. So from time to time, we'll take the cold water and we'll put this over his head. So then that way he doesn't get too hot either. But at the same time, if he might need some water, we can also give him some water throughout it as well. If he needs that, right? If he needs that, we can give him water. And so it's so important that they're drinking plenty of water, that they're getting their fluids as well, because this is just inducing like a fever. So then that way the body can work with you as you assist it in order to fight off whatever's going on. All right. So fermentation is for analgesic or relief of pain, muscle or joint pain, relieves congestion such as flu, bronchitis, and pneumonia, increases your blood flow with the heat, and the cold helps to get the blood out, increase white blood cell activity as part of the immune response. It promotes sweating, sedative. If you just keep it at a low, if you keep it on there for a long period of time, it helps them to go to sleep. It helps relieve nervousness and insomnia, and also relieves muscle spasms. So you need at least 2 or more fermentation pads, at least 3. You need 3 or 4 bath towels, and also a wool one as your to keep it insulated. Plastic sheet like we had here, a blanket, a basin of ice water, heating source, microwave or oven, or even boiling water. You can use any of those things. Whatever you have is what you would use. If I was somewhere out in the wilderness and all we had was a big, huge thing of water where we could heat it up with what? With wood and stuff like that, and we didn't have anything to put on there, I would look for some big, huge leaves, you know, like papaya leaf or something, and I would use that, warming those up and putting it on the person to be able to be my heat pack. So I would probably put this over that papaya leaf, you know, maybe a towel with the papaya leaf, and that would be my heating source. So those are some things. You have to be very creative, and wherever you are, you have to look for things that you can do in order to do this. So I'm just giving you the one that's really easy if you're in someone's home. And so you want to keep their feet warm. All right. So counter indications would be severe vascular disease or obstruction of circulatory disturbances, heart problems, diseases like diabetes, hypertension, certain types of cancer, unconsciousness, appendicitis, bleeding ulcers, or a loss of sensation if they have loss of sensation. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is a bath, a fever bath. Okay, you can get up if you like. Let's just put it up here. Do you think we can do it here? I think so. Okay, so the next thing is a hot fever bath. All right, so what I have here is we're using this as a bathtub. Okay, so Dahlia, let's put you up here. All right, so we filled this up with hot water, and of course she'd be using her little swimsuit or something. So get in there. Ooh, it's hot, it's hot. Okay, very good. So with that, right, what we want to do is to keep, you can keep your arms in there. And so what I would do is I would take a sheet, especially if you don't have a bathtub where it's so high. This is really nice, so you really wouldn't need it. But if you have a bathtub that's pretty low, and I would put a sheet around, so then that way it would keep the heat in, right? So if we can keep the heat in, that's going to be really good. So as time goes by, I'm going to have to put more hot water in here, right? And so that way it'll stay hot. So what we want to do with a fever treatment is that it's really good for people that have cancer. It's good to increase the white blood cells, which is our fighter cells. If you have flu, if you're not feeling well, if you're sick, this is a great treatment for that. If you have chronic fatigue syndrome, this is really good too. But one thing you have to be careful of is that you don't want the person to pass out. You okay? You need some water? Oh my goodness. Here, you want some water? Oh, is that better? Here, we'll put some, we don't want her to pass out. So you're gonna also take note of what her temperature is, and then you're gonna make sure that you raise it up to a fever level. That's why it's called a fever bath, because you're making the body go into a fever state to increase the white blood cells, which are the fighter cells, so we can fight off whatever's going on. All right. Very good. So basically what you need when you do this is you need a bathtub. If you don't have a bathtub, well, then you'll have to do a different treatment that we might have shared already, maybe a fomentation. Fomentation are one of my favorites. I do them on all kinds of things. I've done them in the hospital when my dad had a massive stroke in order to get some more feeling in his arm and his foot. And also I've done it on people where they couldn't walk, fomentations. And I know that that might be a contraindication, but you have to also be careful with that to make sure that you're not burning them as well. All right, so another thing I would put in here is Epsom salt. Make sure it's nice and hot. It will also help with relaxing the muscles, because sometimes when you get the flu or something, your muscles are not feeling very well. Spasms. You need another drink? Okay. All right. So with that, that's important. So high blood pressure, heart conditions, too weak, diabetic, need to be careful, and neuropathy. Those are some of the things that you need to look for. Now, the next thing that we're going to be doing is herbs. All right. Need help? So the next thing we're going to do is infusions. How many people know what an infusion is? If you're looking at an infusion, let me tell you what it is. It is simply using your herb. So whatever that herb is, you take that and you put it in hot water. You can boil water, put it over something that's fresh, whether it be like a herbal leaf or something or whatever. You can pour that over that. That's part of a so infusion is basically drinking tea. Here is my favorites, Echinacea Golden Seal. Whenever I don't feel good, I go to Golden Seal. That's my main one that I go to with some lemon. That's like the best thing when you don't feel well. If you're doing an infusion and making tea, if you are using the leaves or flowers, you use 1 tablespoon. If you're using roots, seeds, branches, or bark, you would use 1 to 2 teaspoons. And you just take the water, bring it to a boil, and then you put your leaves and stuff in there, or your bark or seeds or whatever. You put that in there, and 8 ounces of water. And if it's a seed or a bark, or if it's a hard part of the plant, you will boil or simmer it for at least 20 to 30 minutes. If it's a soft part of the plant, you just bring it to a boil, you shut it off, and you let it steep for about 15 to 30 minutes. All right, so next we're going to be looking at tinctures, extracts, and stuff like that. So what I did here was I put in all my herbal stuff in here. This is for respiratory, to support your respiratory. So I have a number of different herbs in there. And basically when you're making tinctures or extracts, you will take that and you'll put in here. Now, some people, you're going to say this is not good. Alcohol. Yes, I said alcohol. What I would prefer to use is 100 proof. That's pretty strong, right? 100 proof. So they usually say between 80 to 100 proof. And the reason why is because the stronger the alcohol is, like whiskey, vodka is not that strong, but whiskey is. So the reason why you want to get high proof like that is because it's taking the element out of that herb. So everybody knows that turmeric. Why do people use turmeric besides if they have inflammation? It's because of the element curcumin. Curcumin is the thing that people want, because when you have curcumin, that is what they have studied that is so good for these different things. So with the alcohol and that turmeric in here will bring out the curcumin in a strong amount. And so I just wanted to let you know that if you go to the store and you buy these tinctures or herbal extracts, this one here is a very good one. It's called Echinacea Golden Seal Plus. Now we say that this is one of the good ones to use, but I want to let you know that it has alcohol in it and it has glycerin. So they use 20% alcohol. So instead of just using alcohol in here as the liquid, you can also use glycerin. Or like my mother was a diabetic, I didn't use either one of those. I didn't use alcohol because it can turn into sugar, and I didn't use glycerin because it is sugar. So instead, what did I use? I used apple cider vinegar because that was better for her as a diabetic. And so that would be my liquid here. And then what you would do is every day for 14 days, you would shake it like that twice a day. And you would keep it in a dark room, in a dark area, but every day you would shake it gently like that. And once it's done, after those 14 days, you would strain it and you would put it in a bottle like this, an amber bottle. This one here is another really good one. This is oregano. Oregano is a key one to use if you're sick. They're Echinacea Golden Seal. Now, here's the thing. If you get these that do have alcohol in it, what you want to do is you want to take boiling water, and then you put this in the boiling water and let the steam take care of the alcohol. The alcohol is supposed to evaporate. So that's why I want to make sure that I say that very clearly, that you will find that a lot of these have alcohol in them. So I want you to be aware of that. So if you have a problem, like say, for instance, you are alcoholic, you do not want to use any of them that have had alcohol in it that are made from alcohol. Now, glycerin would be a little better, but again, that's going to be very sugary flavor as well. So those are the ways that they make tinctures, and that's the way that we make tinctures today. All right, so the next thing is for, I'm going to go ahead and do this other one, which is a syrup. And basically for a syrup, we have, did you get a spoon? Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so in this concoction here for the syrup, right? I have already done a few things. In here, you can actually see, I don't know if you can see it very well, but inside here is some elderberries. And what I took was some elderberry with some distilled water, and 2 tablespoons of elderberry, 2 tablespoons of echinacea, and 1 pint of distilled water. And what you do is you cook this, you like you're making tea, but what you want to do is you want some of the water to evaporate. And you do this for about 45 minutes. So once it gets to a boil, you bring it down to a simmer and you let it simmer for about 45 minutes. So we have done that. And and then you let it cool down. Do we have another? Can I use that other one there? Yeah. So what we want to do now is we want to strain this. You can see that the berries is in there. So what we're making is a syrup to help you to stay stronger and to build your immune system. So all I'm doing here is I'm just getting it and I'm mashing up the elderberries. Because we're making a syrup.
How much water do you use?
We use 1 pint of water, but it's distilled water.
Can you use essential oils instead of alcohol for tinctures?
No. Because essential oils are already kind of they're in a group of their own. Some essential oils you cannot take internally, so you have to be very careful with that as well. So I placed all the ingredients except for the honey into a metal pot, brought it to a boil, reduced the heat, made a decoction by simmering uncovered for 45 minutes until it reduced half. And then I mashed the elderberries and I strained it and let it cool. And now I'm adding the honey to this mixture. Calls for about 1/4 cup. And now this is.
You can show it to that camera. Just bring it.
Oh.
You see the picture.
Mm-hmm. So what happened is this is not as warm as it was previously. And so it's starting to get a little bit more like a syrup. This is going to be really good because it's echinacea and elderberry, very, very good for you. Okay. And the other thing about it is you can also, what you would do when you're using that, right? You would take 1 to 3 teaspoons per day or as needed. And then you can also put it into the refrigerator. Some of these things you can actually keep in the freezer. So now what I want to do is I want to show you how to make a salve for pain. That's container I'm going to put it in. And I hope I have everything here. DMSO is something that you got to be very careful when you use DMSO. So a lot of people don't know how to use it. So this is very strong. It's 99%, which is very, very strong. And you have to dilute that. And so you have to be very careful because it irritates the skin. And so peppermint oil and cayenne pepper. Okay, so basically for this, what I'm going to be using is Crisco, which is a vegetable fat, right? And we're going to be using, I think, like a half a cup. So I'm going to put in about a half a cup. This is going to be our base. Sometimes if I don't use Crisco, I use coconut oil, whatever I have available. So then we're going to take 3 ounces of DMSO. This will help dilute it into the vegetable fat. So
Can you use coconut oil?
you can use coconut oil. Okay. 2 tablespoons of this is peppermint. 2 tablespoons of peppermint. Another thing that you can do, which is really easy too for pain, 2 tablespoons of peppermint and cayenne pepper. 2 tablespoons of cayenne pepper. Another thing you can do too for a pain salve would be to use isopropyl alcohol, which is, the rubbing alcohol. And you can put cayenne pepper in with that and a little bit of peppermint. And then just mix that up and then let it cure for about maybe a couple days. Oh yeah, so DMSO, that used to be, you could only get it from veterinarians. And what they use it for is racehorses for their muscles. But for us, we don't have hair like horses do. So if we get DMSO at this 99%, it will burn, it will hurt your skin. So that's why you have to make sure that it is diluted in other stuff. And sometimes using DMSO, you have like a funny flavor in your mouth. I've used this on people where I made it into a pain tincture or, like a salve like this. And I have used it to rub on people and stuff like that. And even myself, from using it on my fingers, using it on them, I also had the flavor or taste in my mouth. So you can get that as well when you are using it, just to let you know. I also use this on my mother because she was not only a diabetic, but she had heart problems and some other things too. And where did I learn about this? Right here at UG Pines. From a naturopath doctor. He used to work with the thrashes. He's from Missouri. And it was just, some of the great things. And if you have pain really bad, if you know what wild lettuce is, if you can make that into a tincture, That is like the best thing to get rid of pain just like that. How do I know? Because I had pain and I had stiffness for about a week or so. And Dr. Kelvin had gotten some of this wild lettuce tincture. So it looks like, you know, like a tincture that's kind of like this in a bottle with a little dropper form or whatever. And he just dropped a little bit on there and I rubbed that area. And within seconds, pain was gone, swelling was gone. Another thing that's really good like that too is lavender. Lavender oil, if you can get a good lavender oil, I would say Young's Living Oil is probably the best name brand. And if you can get that lavender oil, let me tell you, if you have bruising, pain, and swelling, lavender oil takes care of all of that. I went sledding one summer with the pastor and his kids. And, you know, when you're out sledding in snow, maybe you don't know, but if you ever experience snow and you've been sledding, let me tell you, your legs are so cold, you don't feel anything. And when you start thawing out, you start feeling the pain. And I had a huge bruise on my leg. And so I remembered I had some of that lavender oil and I rubbed it on there because I couldn't go to sleep at night. It was just so painful. Once I put that on there, within probably maybe a minute or so, the pain was gone. I fell asleep. The next morning, I took a shower, put some of that on again, and that it healed. It healed within like 5 days, 3 to 5 days. The bruise was gone and the swelling was gone. Okay, so this is the pain salve, and you can use this on joints or different places where you have pain. Now, I would not use this on any area that's close to the eyes or mouth. So I wouldn't really do it on the neck, but you could do it on your shoulders. You can do it on your joints, your different joints. I wouldn't use it anywhere like in the area where it's close to your private area as well, just because of the peppermint and stuff could be very burning.
And you can see.
Yeah. There we go. So that's the pain salve. All right. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a cold and flu balm. Now, what is a cold and flu balm? It's stuff that's really easy to do. What we're going to do is we're going to take 2 oranges, I think 1 lemon, 5 cloves of garlic, which I already have in here. We're going to juice 1 lemon. So I'm going to cut this lemon in half. And I have a little juicer here. Oh, I see how that goes. Okay. Let me just go ahead and put this here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is juice my lemon right in there. So what you're using is one lemon. You're juicing it right into your blender area.
What did you do with the thing you were made it?
What's that? If you have questions, I might be able to answer some of them if you want to read them to me.
You can say it, they can hear it.
All right, so I'm going to take 2 oranges. Want to help me? Wish you guys were here so you could have some of this. Sometimes when I do talks in person, I like to make some of this stuff so that way everybody can try some. And we want to do just a little bit of cayenne pepper, 1/4 of a cup. Or I'm sorry, a fourth of a teaspoon. It's not very much. I'm going to put a couple drops of eucalyptus in there. And we have 5 cloves of garlic. And we have 2 oranges. And a little bit of honey. There we go. Like we need honey. Just a tiny bit. And I think we're ready to go. Nope. Not even some, let's put a little bit of ginger in there. Ginger is really good, right? We're just gonna put a little bit. That's good. No water, it says, so let's go for it. It did ask for ginger. I'm going to put some real ginger in there. To me, I think that when you have real fresh ginger, I'm just going to give you a recipe too that's really good for your immune system. There in the islands, you guys have fresh ginger, right? So if you take a piece of your ginger here, and what you want to do is you want to cut it up real finely. So while you're doing this, you put your pot of water on, and for every cup of water that you have, right? What you do is you take like this size of ginger, like a teaspoon of ginger, right? And so what you want to do is you want to cut that up. And once you have that, another thing is if you have oregano growing, take some oregano. And if you have peppermint, take peppermint, ginger, and oregano. And you'll have like a teaspoon of the oregano cut up nice, and a teaspoon, or actually 1 leaf of each of those. Cut those up. And when the water gets boiling, put your ginger in there, let it boil for a few minutes, and then add the rest of the stuff, and let it steep for about 15 minutes, and just add a tiny little bit of honey. You drink that every night, and you're probably going to feel really good every day, because each one of those ingredients is going to help with your inflammation. It's going to help with pain. It's going to help with your respiratory. It's going to help with breathing. It's going to help with your lungs. It's going to help you to stay healthy and well. So that's one thing you can do, which is so simple. And you have those things right there probably. So I would say use them. So I'm going to give this another blend. Okay, so this is called a cold and flu balm. And what you do is you blend all the ingredients, and then you would keep it in the refrigerator. You would use 2 to 3 tablespoons 3 to 5 times a day, or as needed. So if you're not feeling so well, you might want to use a little more. So we're going to try that right here, right now, and see if it's any good. So you be the first one and let me know what you think. That's probably too much for you. 2 to 3 tablespoons, it says. Here, Andre, you better get some. We don't want you to be sick. This is going to be strong. It's strong. I like it. Eucalyptus.
And the cayenne.
Oh, there's the cayenne. You know what else you could add to this? Pineapple. Why pineapple? Because if you're looking at acid and alkaline, pineapple is really good. It's like 12.9 alkaline level. What's even higher than that, which is 22 for the alkaline, is dandelion leaf. This is great for sinus, good for upper respiratory, good for sore throat. It'll clean you out. If you want to, you can put horseradish in here. If you have horseradish, that's actually optional. I didn't put it on there, but you can use horseradish. So that recipe was 2 oranges peeled, 5 cloves of garlic, 1.5 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of chopped ginger. I also put a little bit of powdered ginger in there. And I put 1 to 2 drops of eucalyptus. Actually, I got a little too much. I probably put in 4. 1 juice of a lemon and 1 teaspoon of honey. It's actually pretty good. Very good. So the other thing I want to let you know is March. Here at UG Pines in March, I want to invite you guys here to UG Pines for our spring seminar. It's a natural remedies spring seminar. It's usually like the 3rd week of March. So make sure you put on your calendar that you're going to UG Pines in March. And what we do here is our medical staff, we do morning talks on like 4 days. And then in the afternoon, you can do your hands-on. We have like 3 or 4 different tracks. So one is like vegetarian cooking. Another one is like hydrotherapy. Another one is doing like a combination of those, except for the cooking. And the other one is doing more herbs and how to do pills and stuff like that. So if you want to do some hands-on stuff, that would be the best time to come to UG Pines, get a fresh look at different things and understand a lot of these things. So I want to invite you in March, come to UG Pines, because we always have a really good spring seminar for natural remedies. Now, if you cannot come, but you'd like for me to come and give you a training, you can find me on WhatsApp. I got my phone number here, 248-894-9560, Dr. Julie on WhatsApp. And WhatsApp me and see if I can come into your area if you want to pay for my trip there and spend my time there and to help organize getting some training and stuff like that. Let me tell you, the more opportunity that you do this, the more you'll be able to do it. Once you learn it and you actually go through doing it and you do it to each other, that is really the best way that it's going to stick here. So then that way, if you're out and you're visiting a neighbor and they're not feeling good, you can do any of these things, even if you don't have your stuff. I used to travel around in a car where I would have everything in one of these. I would put charcoal in there. I would put different stuff in there. So whenever I went to someone's house and someone wasn't doing good, I could give them a hot foot bath. I could give them charcoal, all kind of different things. So we need to be equipped. And the other part of that is if you don't have that, because if I'm traveling by plane, I'm not going to have that. But as I go into people's homes, I try to figure out what you have in your garden or in your lawn or whatever around you or whatever, maybe your neighbor or somebody, and to be able to treat you with the simple things. And one of the best things that we can do is do the fever treatments. I'm telling you, fomentation, hot foot bath, fever bath, everybody's got towels, everybody's got a shower or a bathtub, everybody's got water. So those are some of the things that we can do. So let us use what God has given us so we can do that. All right, so I am finished with all of that. And now it's time for question and answers. So I'm going to go closer to the computer so I can read what the questions are here.
So what's the cost of seminar?
What is the cost of a seminar? Actually, the seminar is free, but if you're going to be partaking in the activities, it's $75, and you get a booklet and you get all of the information that goes with that. So it's like $75 plus your room. So depending on where you stay, it could be anywhere from $40 a night to $75 a night, and I believe it's 4 nights.
Will you talk about poultices today?
Oh, poultices. Yeah. I didn't do that, did I? All right, so poultices, very simple. If people have pain or something like that, what you want to do, this is actually a piece of cabbage, right? Just a leaf of cabbage. What I do is I break it up, or if you have a rolling pin, that's even better yet. So can I use you? Let's say you got your hand hurts or something, right? Or your elbow or something. So what you want to do is you want to get this wet. So what you do is you roll it, you beat on it. And so when it's wet, then you put it on that area. So she has like a little pain right there going on. And then what I do is I take Saran wrap and I just wrap it around. get my finger in there. And then that's it. The saran wrap is really nice because it helps to stick, or a cling wrap. It sticks right to it. The other thing you can do is, not everybody has chucks, but everybody has paper towel. If you have paper towel, you can do stuff with that as well. Now, one thing you can do, right? Or if you have like a cloth, right? If you're using something like a tea, say for instance, you're using a tea. So if we had like a tincture or something and we made it into a tea, we can take this cloth and we can put it in there, squeeze out the excess. We can wrap it around that area. Then we would actually take the saran wrap and we would put that around in order to hold it in place. So you can do either something that's made out of something that you picked outside, like your cabbage or wild lettuce, and you can put it on there, or even you can use white potato. You can cut that up and that'll take care of it. Or you can use something like a cloth and put it into a tea. So that very first thing that we talked about, making a tea, you can soak that in there and you can squeeze out the excess, put it around, and then put the saran wrap. So those are all poultices. You can do charcoal poultices. Most people have paper towel. So basically, if you're using paper towel with that, I would make my charcoal, just use a little bit of charcoal with some water. I like to use flaxseed because it gels better. And you just put it on there, spread it on there, turn it over, and then you would use your tape. So when you're using the tape, what I do is I fold it this way. So then that way the tape side is the outside, this side here with no tape. So that way it doesn't irritate the skin, and you just put it right on. Just put it right on the area that you need it. So whether you're using potatoes, whether you're using even that, you can do it in this as well if you want. But I would say the potato and the other, I would put it right on there. That's what you'd use a poultice for, right? Oh yeah, mosquito bites, bees. I actually just put it right on there. And you know, my nephew got bit up from mosquitoes. He come in the house asking me what to do. He was itching everywhere. So I made some of that mix of charcoal with flaxseed and a little bit of water. And I just put it all over him. He was 7 years old. And that was when the Dalmatian movie was out. And he ran to his mommy, which was a nurse. And he says, "Mommy, look at me, I'm a Dalmatian." So that was kind of cute. Kids always are thinking of things just like us. We mind map in our minds. We associate with different things. Other questions?
I have a question. There are times when they said if you're doing a foot bath that you should cover your forehead with a cold cloth. I didn't hear you make any mention of that.
I had someone on the table here for a fermentation. I put a cold one on his head. Also, when the little girl was in the bathtub, I put one over her head as well, because we don't want them to feel overheated. We don't want them to get dizzy or to fall out. So we want to make sure that they're still with us, right? So yeah, we want to make sure that their head stays cool.
Okay. So, but the fermentation seemed to me like a little bit risky for someone who might be an amateur. But how hot is that water that you will put the person in? What's the temperature like?
Question. So the temperature.
That's the fever bath, for the fever bath, yeah.
I'm too close to you. Okay. Okay. All right, so temperature of the water. Now the temperature of the water, you want to make sure that it's going to be pretty hot. Sometimes the best thing to do is to put them in the water when it's not too hot, and then to increase that to like 100 and some degrees.
Wow.
Because we're trying to get their, actually it's probably not that hot, but you're trying to get their temperature to that degree, as hot as they can stand it. So it's not going to be really that hot, but it is hot when they first get in. And then you're going to add more hot water as you go along, as long as it's enough for them to handle. To me, my thing is you want to make sure that you're working with the person, because you can say, oh, it has to be this, this, and this, but everybody's just a little bit different. And therefore, that's what I usually do, is just kind of see how it goes with them and increase that temperature of water.
Okay, thanks. What precautions necessary, let's say, for a person who may be a diabetic or hypertensive using the fermentations or the hot fever bath?
Yeah, so for diabetics, I would use fomentation over their stomach and thigh area, because they're going to feel that area more than anywhere else. And that's basically where you do the fomentations. For a diabetic, I would do like a wrap, or put them into a light treatment where you have all the lights around them, or putting them in a hot and cold shower. But for fomentations, it would only be in that area of their waist area or their thighs. For a hot bath, I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
Maybe a warm bath, but not real hot.
Not real hot.
Because
Okay.
you don't want them to get blisters.
Right. Will you follow that same procedure for a person with poor circulation or varicose problems?
Yeah, so varicose problems, that means that their veins are kind of showing. So I would actually use something else, like maybe do like a poultice on that vein area to kind of heal that first. You could probably do maybe a foot bath, but I wouldn't go too much, because anything with vasculars, I would be very cautious.
Okay, okay. How safe are the tinctures or the teas with persons who perhaps are on medication for one reason or another, whether it be diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, whatever? How safe are any of these teas or methods with such persons? Normally you hear that you shouldn't mix your herbs with medication, or that you should take the herb 2 hours or 3 hours before, or the medication 2 or 3 hours before, and then take the herb after. What's your practice?
Yeah, so depending on what the herb is, especially charcoal is a big concern of most people too. There's certain herbs that will interact with your medicines. So basically you want to take those herbs in between mealtime. And of course, the best thing to do is, if you're going to take your medicine in the morning, I would say 2 hours afterwards is when it would be safe to take your herbs, and just take those as a tea, like 3 to 5 cups throughout the day. And maybe about an hour or two before you would actually take your medicine again.
Okay, fine, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there was one other thing you mentioned, the resveratrol balances. I wasn't too clear on the information you shared about that.
Yeah, so that basically balances your response, your immune response. If the immune system is weak and it needs to be revved up.
What really is resveratrol? It's a tablet, it's a liquid, what is it?
Oh, yes, you can get it as a tablet or a capsule at the health food store.
And that's over the counter, or it has to be given by a prescription?
No, actually, if you were to look at it, you could probably find it online as well. Maybe Amazon might have something.
Okay.
Or on the internet.
But I mean, you just don't go and take resveratrol unless you have a reason for taking it, right? Or is it something that you can take as an immune builder?
Yeah, you can take it if you want to, even if you're not sick. I just
Okay.
wouldn't take it as often, maybe once a
Okay.
week or a couple times a week.
Okay.
Hi, I didn't get your WhatsApp number. Are you able to put that back up for me, please?
Let me get there.
Oh, and I wouldn't mind having the recipes too. I wasn't able to write them down. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, thank you. Can I have the recipes too, please?
Sure. That's for the cold and flu balm.
Yes.
Just take a picture of it.
I'm doing that. Yep, ma'am. Got it.
Here's for the herbal syrup.
Got it. Can I have the salve, please?
Yep. For Crisco, it's a ½ cup.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That's a thing of grease.
For the infusion, that's pretty easy.
Got it.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
You're welcome.
So
All right,
Dr.
there's
Julie.
questions that people asked. No, actually for children like toddlers and little babies, the elderberry echinacea with the honey is really good for young people. You just wouldn't give them as much. So you would probably give them like 1/4 of a teaspoon to a teaspoon when needed. You can give that to them maybe once a week if they're not sick, just during times that you're concerned that stuff is going around or whatever, to keep their immune system up as well. Otherwise, you would take it like 3 to, I don't know, 7 times a day, depending on how bad you're feeling. Anything else?
Yes, so resveratrol is found in grapes.
Yes, resveratrol is found in grapes, especially the skin part of the grape. Yeah, that's why I said muscadine in my talk. I said, if you have muscadines, you got what you need right there. There's no more questions? All those things on the side there? Okay. So if there's any more questions, we got about a minute or 3.
Good night.
Hello.
Sorry about the noise in the background, but quickly, can I ask, could you go over the cost to come to you in person?
Yeah, if you're coming here to UG Pines.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so when you say in person, did you want to come for a consult and a treatment? Or did you want to come for the seminar? Or would you like to come as a guest at our lifestyle center?
As a guest and also for the seminar.
Okay, so as a guest here at the Lifestyle Center, you'd have to talk to Duthier, and he would see if you're a fit or not, and to find out if you would be a level 1 or a level 2. And depending on if you're a level 1 or level 2, would you know what the cost would be. I'm not exactly for sure how much that is, but it's somewhere, if you're a level 1 with all the treatments and blood work, it's over 5,000. If you're level 2 with just the information and maybe a treatment here and there, it's going to be over 2,500. If you're coming for the seminar, it costs $75 for the hands-on part, and then it would cost anywhere from $40 a night to $75 a night for the stay and then food. So I'd say, let's just say $100 a day. So that's probably $400, about $500 for the seminar with everything, approximately.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening. Is elderberry available in the health stores?
Yeah, we have plenty of elderberries at Country Life. If we're able to ship that to you, I don't know. They can. You can call them. Would you like to get the number?
Yes, please.
It's 706-323-9194. That's Country Life. And just tell them that you live in Barbados and that you would want to get maybe 1 or 2 pounds of elderberries, and then they would let you know from there how much it would cost and how much to ship it.
Is there anything you can use in place of the elderberry if you don't have that?
Yeah, actually, there's so many things you can use. You have astragalus, you have golden seal, echinacea, things that will build up your immune system. Those are the main ones. If you have like problem with like maybe allergies, I would say nettle, lemongrass is really good. Using lemons, garlic, all of those are really good for your immune system. You can make a garlic tea. You just boil water, put your garlic in there, let it boil for about 3 to 5 minutes, and let it steep for a little bit, and then just drink the water. Or if you want it stronger, you can put 1 cup of hot boiling water with the garlic inside your blender and blend it up, and then just sip on that. That's pretty strong.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, I have a question.
Okay.
Is usually pine suitable for persons who are trying to get over alcohol addiction?
That's a good question. I don't know. I know that we take a number of different people. The best thing to do would be to call and find out if you'd be a match with what we have available. I know that we do. I've done programs in the past for people that have addictions like smoking, alcohol, and stuff like that. So with that, you have to be, first and foremost, the person has to want to stop. If people want to stop, then I know that there are ways that we can help you to do that. And I know that if you fast for 24 hours to 72 hours and just drink water, people that have addictions, one of the best thing to do is just do a fruit fast for the first 3 days and a water fast.
Okay. Thank
Dr.
you.
Julie?
You're welcome. Yes.
Dr. Julie?
Yeah.
When you mentioned the vitamins for the immune system, you did not mention NAC. Is that something that you advocate?
Vitamins?
Yeah, you didn't mention NAC, N-acetyl L-cysteine.
Oh. So when we're eating good, right? That's going to help us with the vitamins that we need. If I was living in the islands like where you guys are in Barbados, I would take advantage of sea moss. Sea moss has so many amino acids in it that it's very, very, very good for our body to make sure that we have those different minerals that we need. It has like 92 out of the 102 amino acids that our body needs. So sea moss is probably one of the #1 things that you can do, and especially where you guys live, you have free access, I would say, a lot more availability than we do here in the States, even though we do have that at health food stores. But that's one thing that I would definitely look at, and making sure that you're getting good vegetables and fruits that are growing and pick freely and eat freely of those things. You're going to find that you're going to be more healthier by eating stuff that's picked from nature. When we started cooking food is when our health started going down.
Thank you.
Good night, Judy.
Okay. Yes, good evening.
Great presentation, and I want to know if he's on YouTube.
Oh, I don't know. You'd have to find out from the people that have, from the church that is doing this. So they're
Okay.
recording this, so I'm sure that it will be somewhere.
Good
Okay.
night. It is on YouTube.
Okay,
It's live.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's live on YouTube. That's good.
Yeah, I sent it out to a bunch of people already.
Okay. Anything else?
Hi, I put a question on chat about COVID. Can you check that out, please?
Yeah, so basically I've treated a number of people with COVID already that we've had here in Columbus, Georgia. The first thing that I usually tell people to do is make sure that they hydrate. The biggest thing that I find is that people don't drink enough water. They don't get enough rest. They don't get enough vitamin D. Those are three main keys that you definitely want to make sure that you're doing. And if you're lacking sleep, if you're lacking vitamin D, if you're lacking to hydrate or drinking enough water, that's going to cause problems. The other thing is if you're eating foods that are high in fat, foods that are fried, foods that are processed, it's going to lower your immune system. So you need to make sure that you're eating stuff that's whole foods, like whole grains, making sure that you're eating your garbanzo beans, right? Make sure that you're eating fruits and vegetables. Those things are going to be the best thing for you, in legumes, because your body knows what to do with that. If you're eating stuff that's packaged, more than likely you're going to be having processed chemicals that the body doesn't even know what to do with. So it makes your immune system work harder, and your body doesn't even know where to put that. So your liver's saying, oh, just put it in the fat cells. And so next thing you know, you're like, well, how did I get so fat? It's because the body doesn't recognize what that is. So that can lower our immune system and then cause us to get sick. So one thing that I usually use for people that have had COVID that have come in is oil of oregano. And I tell them to take, like 2, 3, 4 drops and 4 ounces of juice, drink that down every hour on the hour for a few hours. If that's too much for them, then just every few hours to drink that. And usually within 3 days, they're good. They're out and about, going everywhere. The other thing that I've done with people with COVID is doing the fomentations over the chest and the back. That has become very good, but you have to do those right away. The other one is a hot fever bath. If you can give them a hot fever bath or a hot and cold showers, that usually does very well as well. So those are key things. So what you want to do is you want to keep yourself healthy, so then that way you don't have to worry about getting it as much. And the biggest thing that I find is that people that have the biggest problem is ones that already have like diabetes, heart disease, or some of these other things. That's why it's so important, and it's a key to be able to get rid of those things or reverse those things. So then that way your chances are much lower for getting sick and death. But there are people that have no whatsoever health problems or whatever. They get sick, they get COVID, and they die. Well, again, were they hydrated? Were they getting enough sleep? It goes right back to those 8 laws of health. To me, those 8 laws of health are the most important thing. And the biggest one, I think that's the problem with most people, is temperance. Having a balance in life, not overdoing a good thing, but staying away from things that it's harmful, that makes a problem for our body. So those are really the best things that we can do. So that's what I would encourage people. But to me, whenever I go places, I always take my oil of oregano, and my other thing that I take is my Echinacea Golden Seal. Those are my two things that I usually take if I have, because I just got back from Puerto Rico. You know, I had these things with me. And the reason why is because I don't know what I'm going to come in contact with, but I ate a lot of fresh fruits. Fruits was probably the biggest thing that I ate while I was away. And vegetables was my biggest thing that I ate was that. I drank plenty of water, and I did go into the sea because the sea is very healing. And I got some sun. You can probably tell if you've seen me before, you saw I got a little tan. But those were all good things because each one of those things, you want to sweat, you want to get your sunshine because vitamin D is linked to a lot of if you have a deficiency of vitamin D, it's linked to a lot of different diseases. And when we are deficient in different vitamins, it's a key player in different type of diseases. So that's why we have to have stuff. But really, instead of taking this tincture, the best thing I like to do is to take the actual herb. So this Golden Seal as a powder is what I really like to use. But if I'm traveling, I have to take the tincture because if I take this and I go through the airport, they like to open my stuff up, swipe it, and then sometimes they just keep it. And I'm thinking, oh man, now I have nothing. But if I just use one of these and I take it through, I'm good. I only took this maybe a couple times while I was away in Puerto Rico for that week, just because I was tired and I just didn't want to get sick. So I just do my precautions and I just drink plenty of water and coconut water. If you can drink your coconut water every day, that'll help hydrate you. If I could get about 3 or 4 of those a day, plus the jelly, I think I would stay very, very well. So coconut water, if you got plenty of coconuts, drink one a day, eat the jelly. It's so good. It also helps with your digestive system. It keeps you regular. I mean, as long as you have good bowel movements and stuff like that, and everything's working good like that, functioning well, you have that much better of a chance of staying well. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, when the agenda for the March seminar will be known, obviously they're talking about the presenters and what is going to be presented.
Oh yeah.
Randy Skeet will be our.
Who is it?
Randy Skeet will be a speaker for the devotions.
Randy Skeet. So for that seminar in March, Randy Skeet is going to be our main speaker in the morning and the evening. For our meetings of exactly what our staff is going to be talking about, the medical staff, I'm not quite sure yet. We're in November, we're going to find out for sure what we're going to be doing for that. So you might not know until maybe January what the health talks will be on, but I know that the very last one is always about your labs. So that one is for sure. I'm looking at some different things to see what people are interested in. And so that would be part of it as well. You also know that UG Pines has an online virtual wellness conference, and we offer them, I think 9 times. We did it this year. We have 2 more coming up, one in October. I think it starts next week or the week after in October. And then we have one more, I think it's in December, and it's only $20, which is ridiculously cheap. And it's for 6 days. It starts on a Sunday, ends on a Friday, and you get basically our medical staff, and it's just phenomenal, the information. And last year we had different health talks. This year we have different health talks, and next year we're working on the health talks that we're going to do for next year. So even with that, it is so good. It helps you to stay in tune with doing these 8 laws of health. I go for walks with you in the morning with some inspirational and motivational talk in the morning from 8 to 9 to get that little digestive walk, as well as extra walking time in. And then you have the seminar throughout the day from 9 until 5 or 6 at night. So very good. We're redoing all of that for next year. So we're going to have new pre-recorded stuff as well as live stuff. So for $20, that's cheap. If we raise it to $50, that's still cheap. You get your money's worth probably after the first talk. So definitely want to let you know about that as well. All right.
Yes, my final question. If I want to make my own oil of oregano, how would I go about that? Suppose I couldn't get it, I couldn't purchase it in a store, and I have the actual plant and want to make my own oil of oregano. How do I go about that?
Yeah, so if you have the actual plant, let me tell you, every night, what you can do is take one of those leaves of oregano, and then you can take your ginger root, right? So take one leaf of oregano, cut that up nice and fine, boil your water, put the oregano in there, like one leaf, and about a teaspoon of a piece of ginger, right? Put that in there. You want to boil actually the ginger root for about 20 minutes, or simmer it for 20 minutes, and then put in your oregano leaf and let it steep. And I would actually put in, if you have peppermint or spearmint, put in one of those leaves too. Just cut it up, put it in there, and let it steep for about 15 to 30 minutes. Every night you can take that with just a little bit of honey. Man, that is so good. When I was in Puerto Rico and I was with this older couple, we had that every night. And he would do it without the peppermint, but when we went to another place, they also had peppermint there. So we put peppermint in there, and that was really good. And peppermint is one of those things that will help warm up the body. And it's really good for pain as well. So it also helps with appetite. So it's very good. So if you have those things,
yeah,
use what you have. I mean, that's the best. That's the best.
You said one leaf. Oregano has the very fine looking pine leaf. When you say one leaf, do you mean just one leaf, or you mean a stem that contains 6 of those little small leaves?
I mean, just one little leaf, just one little leaf.
Okay.
You don't need a whole bunch, just one.
Okay.
Like this is, wait. Let me ask you this. I do have some oregano right here. I got this at the store today. And I don't know, maybe you're saying a little tiny leaf, like one of these little leaves?
Yes, that's what you're saying. Yeah, you're saying.
Is that what you mean, like a little tiny leaf?
Yeah, that's what you're saying, just one little one?
No, if this is the type of oregano that you have, no. Then you want to take you probably want to take one stem of this.
Okay.
You probably want to take like this whole stem.
Okay.
If this is what you're talking about. The oregano that I had was a big leaf, like this big.
Oh, okay. I don't know that one. That's a different species.
Yeah.
Different variety. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're talking about the oregano that's small like this, you're gonna have to take the whole stem. The whole stem. Yep.
The one that I'm speaking of, it looks like a fern. It looks like pine leaves. Those little. Yeah.
Like
the
this.
one that the one you're showing. Oh yes, I am with you. Yes. Yes. I was getting mixed up with rosemary. Yes. I know the oregano. Now got you. Yes.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Yes.
Dr. Julie?
Yes, hi.
Yes, hi. Me again, Jeanette. Could you tell us some more about the online seminar? Persons are asking about that.
Yeah, so in March, we have a natural remedies seminar here at UG Pines. We also put it on our YouTube, right? So you can see and hear all the meetings, see all the meetings and stuff like that. You can even take part in our question and answer on the last day with our panel of people that have presented, even if you're watching from online. But when you come here, it's the experience of being here at UG Pines. It is so awesome. It's like a little heaven on earth. It's quiet. You hear nature. You can walk. Our lifestyle center. We have meetings in the afternoon, like from 4 to 6, where you do hands-on. So you can get a little bit of training as well. Do a little cooking if that's what you want to do. You can do some herbal stuff if that's what you want to do. If you want to do a little herbal with a little, like what we did tonight, you can have hands-on like that as well. So that, to me, you get a whole little booklet and everything, like a seminar folder with all that information. It's only $75 for that training. And then the rest of it is free. And if you want to get your blood done as well, you can get your blood done. And then you can have like a health consult, or at the end, we usually do a talk on how to read your labs. And so then that way you can kind of understand what's what and to see what's going on with your lab information as well. So it's very nice. And then you get to network with people, you meet other people from different places. It's just a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I had that experience already at Wildwood, but the person doesn't want to come. The person, you mentioned something about on an online seminar. The person was interested in the online seminar. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, yes, the wellness conference. Yes, the wellness conference is for 6 days. We have one coming up in October, I think next week or the following week. And then we have one in December. And I can tell you what's going on here. So on Sunday, we kick it off in the morning. We tell you a little bit how it works. We do a lot of Zoom, and you're hooked into a like a portal. And we have stuff in there where you can get resources and stuff like that that we have on there. And from day to day, we come out through the day, and then we have live talks on Zoom, and then we record those so you can watch them. If you missed it, you can go back, or if you've heard it but you want to hear it again, you can do that as well for so many days. And then we also have a few pre-recorded stuff as well. And that lasts like from 8 in the morning until like 5 or 6 at night for 6 days. Sunday is not as long. It's just kind of get you oriented to what we're doing. I think mine is the only live talk besides the one before me, which they tell you how it works, how to find different things when you're in that portal.
And the cost of that?
$20.
For the whole thing?
For the whole thing.
Thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome. All you have to do is go to www.ugpines.org, and you'll be able to find it there, and you can sign up right there. So that's www.ucpines.org. That's www.ucpines.org.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's already posted in the chat.
Okay, thanks.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I want to say that this has been an extremely interesting presentation, extremely informative.
Thank you.
And to me, it shows the efficacy of the Seventh-day Adventist health message in terms of its preventative nature as well as its restorative nature, which is so critical for the time in which we are living. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Yeah, what can you do for joint pains, finger joint pains that locks in? When they bend, they lock and they do not move. What treatment can you use for that?
You're talking about your knees?
I wasn't here for. Pardon?
You're talking about your knees?
Hello?
She mentioned finger joints.
Okay, it's for your joints, right?
If you bend your finger, they're locking and they do not move. And it's very painful.
Yeah. Did you, when that happened, the first time that it happened, did you hear a noise or a snap?
Sometimes it happens so suddenly, I don't hear the snap, but it just locks in. For instance, it happened Friday night and it just locked in there and I couldn't get the move. It was very painful. And I just had to let it stay until it actually eased itself out. So I would like to know what can you do for that and what causes that?
Yeah, so do you find that, is it swollen at all?
Sometimes when it's like that, it's swollen.
There's a number of things you can do. One easy thing would be take a cabbage leaf and you crush it up. So if you have like a rolling pin, put your cabbage leaf down and roll it with a rolling pin, or you can take a hammer and just beat on it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put it around your knee, and then you're going to take your styrofoam, your saran wrap, and you're going to wrap that around your knee area. That's one thing you can do. I would say if it's warm, I would put cold on it. If it's not warm, I would put heat on it. The thing that I made tonight for pain salve, which was, I took some DMSO, peppermint, and some Crisco, or you can use coconut oil. But the thing about coconut oil is it doesn't always stay hard. So that's why I use Crisco. So it's more like a creamy type consistency. And then what I would do is put some cayenne pepper. Another thing, if you don't have these things, because most people would not have DMSO, if you just get some rubbing alcohol and put some cayenne pepper in there and shake it up and do that for about 4 or 5 days, and then take some of that in your hand and rub it all over your knee area. And I would do that 2 to 3 times a day and do that for about 1 to 3 months. And that should take care of the pain. There's another thing that you can do too. You can take some soy milk and warm it up and put some ginger in there, like ginger powder. And that's very helpful as well with just a little bit of peppermint. But what I would do is basically, the number one thing that I would try first is taking cabbage and taking, like roll it out so it's like wet, and then put that on the knee. I would use that probably like a couple times a day. And you would notice that over a period of maybe a week or so that the pain would be gone. Otherwise, you need to make a poultice using maybe some cayenne with some castor oil and some charcoal.
Okay.
Oh, another thing is you might notice that that pain happens when you eat certain types of foods like nightshades. Nightshades would be like pepper, tomato, eggplant, even turmeric. There's a number of different things that is in that category of nightshades. The list has gotten bigger. So if you Google that, you'll see that there's a huge list when it comes to nightshades. It's more than just 5 now. So if you look at that, and if you've eaten anything from that category, that might be the thing that's bringing about that pain in your joint. One of the biggest things that people get arthritis or pain in their joint is from eating meat.
Okay. Because sometimes what I noticed sometimes that when I was speaking about my fingers, when that was happening and I tried to rub it or soothe it, I would feel like tinglings and a sensation walking through the fingers. So I was wondering what was that.
So you're also feeling it in your fingers?
The problem is really my fingers that I was speaking about at the beginning, right? The fingers just locked in sometimes like that.
Yeah, so it could also be from the work that you do. If you're on the computer a lot, that means that you're using your fingers more than you would otherwise. So at night when you're not using them at rest, sometimes that causes the fingers to flare up the joints because it's used to being busy. Because I remember I used to use my hands a lot. And when I went on vacation a year later, my hands hurt while I was on vacation. And when I got back to work using my hands, I had no problem. So it could be from that overuse.
Okay. Because I know sometimes I do forking, so I was wondering if that could have been a part of it as well.
And what?
Forking.
Using a
In the
garden
the
fork,
garden-
using a fork in a
garden fork.
Garden.
Gardening fork.
I don't know. Could be.
You know, you when you work in the kitchen garden, when you do gardening, there's a tool that is called a fork that has 4 prongs. You stick it in the earth.
Yes.
You punch.
So you're doing,
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a lot because you're really hanging on to that.
Okay.
That's probably
Okay,
when you
thank you.
probably experience it most of the time is when you're doing.
Dr. Julie?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Julie?
Yes.
Yes. One of the questions you might want to ask her is like when that she had her bloods done, because she could be lacking in calcium or magnesium.
That's true.
Dr. Julie.
Hello.
Yes, one final question. I'm working with an individual and I noticed that she recently gotten her foot amputated and I realized there is circulation problems. She's diabetic and on insulin. Would you recommend the pelvic fermentation for her in terms of working on her circulation issue?
That would be really good to do, as well as you can rub her down with like a salt paste or whatever for circulation as well.
Okay.
Basically what you do is you take like a container and you put salt in there and some water. And so you make it like almost like a paste and you just rub her feet really good, up her leg. I'm doing it on my arms, but I mean, if like this is her foot, that you would be rubbing it really good with that salt. And that would also help for circulation and any pain and stuff like that. When you're dealing with people with diabetes, it depends on how far they are along, how much feeling that they have. I have actually this light treatment that's infrared lights. They're red lights and it's 2 types. One is a 860 and one's a 660. And that shows the depth of how far they penetrate in. And they're actually for neuropathy and stuff like that. I've done where I've helped people with their hands where they have like, where they can't feel their fingers, had very great results with that, as well as on their feet, doing the treatment on their feet. Just a first 20-minute treatment is amazing. And sometimes I'll do a 40-minute on each foot. And I've gotten tremendous results from that because science have shown so much. And these lights actually, the idea of all this come from like NASA, NASA, and so they have seen how this really is amazing as well. What it's doing is it's helping with the nerves, because most people that are diabetic or have been diabetic for a while, they lose their feeling because the nerve is dying. And when the nerve dies, that means there's no blood flow. So what you want to do is you want to restore the blood flow. And when you're doing that, you're trying to do everything that you can possibly to help with that blood flow. And that's exactly what you're trying to do with the person that you're working with. What I would do is I would give them a certain type of a massage. And basically you're starting from the end point, whether it be their toe or their finger. And what you're doing is you're putting a lot of pressure here and you're pushing and you're going towards, right? You're going from this point to the main area. So what you're doing is you're going as deep as you possibly can and you're moving it. So then that way you're moving it towards that area. And as you do that, when you're doing a deep movement like this, you're getting the blood out of this area and you're trying to move it this way. So that way new blood can actually go into this area. And as you do that, they're going to start feeling again. when I worked in the oncology department for the hospital, we would use this type of technique on people that were taking different doses of chemo, because certain type of chemo drugs gives that effect of neuropathy. And so you want to make sure that they have feeling. And so when we would do that, it would help them so they would not get neuropathy with their medication. Whereas people that are diabetics, over a period of time, they get neuropathy. So you can also do that type of a massage. So you're basically just working on each one of the feet and their toes, and just moving it towards the base of the foot. And then also that part of the back part of the foot and the top part of the foot, and then move up the leg, which would be very helpful for circulation as well. That is a safe thing to do, doing the massage like that. If you were to put their feet in water, you have to be very, very careful. So I would not really do that. But that would be one thing you could do, or even if you were able to get the lights that I use, would be very, very effective as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Doctor, how would you deal with abscess? What do you do with an abscess?
But abscess in your mouth, or?
No, on my back.
On your back. One thing that you can do is I would actually make a paste with figs, and I would put that on there, make like a poultice type thing, and try to draw out all of that. So then that way you can start healing a little more. That would be the thing that I would do. It's going to take a little while for that to heal, but you have, whenever you're doing anything natural, it does take time. Sometimes it doesn't take as much, but when you're eating and drinking, like plenty of water, teas that are helping to clean inside as well as outside, that's going to be a faster healing process. But whenever we use natural methods or natural things, sometimes it takes a little longer. And so, sometimes you're not going to see the thing happen like overnight. Sometimes you do, but a lot of times we don't get that fast result. But you can. So basically the figs, if you chop them up or blend them up a bit and make a paste out of it, maybe just a little bit of water with that and make a paste out of that. I would put that on there, and I would apply that maybe 2 or 3 times a day, just to kind of help draw out that.
Hello.
Hello.
Could I ask a question? Is there something that we can do for eczema? It's like in the elbow, like in the arm, when you lower your arm right in the center, and then on the, not under, in the, yes, yes, a wide area.
Mm-hmm. You might want to eat or make sure that you're getting omega-3 and 6. So that means you need to eat more flaxseed, pumpkin seeds, and walnuts. Or that's one thing. The other thing is what you can use. Are you familiar with Old English oil polish that they use for wood, like your furniture?
Well, let's see. Is that something like it's like a yellow?
Yes, it's lemon flavor. Lemon.
Old English, you said.
Old English. It's for polishing your wood.
Mm-hmm.
I would take some of that and rub it on there. Put it on like 3 or 4 times a day.
Oh. Okay, that's different.
Yeah. Other than that, what you could try to use is some Vaseline with some water, and you rub it really good so it's kind of like a milk, like a milk. Once you rub it together, it's kind of like a milk. And then you just put it over there and you put it on there. That will help. The other thing is I would definitely do like an internal cleansing, like a detox. You want to clean out your liver and stuff like that. So then that way your body, because usually something is going on inside the system that it comes out through the skin area.
Okay, and actually this is for my grandson, the 16-year-old. And so what kind of detox could I have him do?
Yeah, another thing is, are they eating very much dairy products?
He's not a vegetarian. He's not a vegan.
Yeah. So that could be a big thing there. So eating clean foods, basically, going more natural, eating more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts and seeds, drinking plenty of water. Those would be the key things. Going towards that and trying to get off some of the other things like your meats and cheese. Dairy is like a huge thing right there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good night, team. We are enjoying it. Elder Malcolm is here, but we might have to wrap up by 7:45. So maybe we just have room for one more question, and we'll have to bring the meeting to an end.
Yes. What can we do for tendonitis, the pain of tendonitis in the shoulder? What could be done to alleviate that horrible pain?
Okay, so if you have pain in your shoulder, tendonitis, I would definitely use, what's that?
I said yes. I was agreeing with you. Yes.
Okay, so basically what I would do is, do you have good range of motion and does it hurt when you get to a certain point? Because what could be happening as well could be a muscle that is tight that needs to be loosened up, as well as if it's more of a joint thing, then certain things that need to be taken place in that area. It could be deficiency of different vitamins, as well as tightness. So first and foremost, I would probably do an assessment to see exactly if you got good range of motion, where the pain is, if it starts having pain here, or if you can't do this or whatever. I would first look at those things to find out exactly what areas need to be looked at. And then I would see if there's any tightness in the different muscles. And then from there, I would probably use maybe like the rubbing alcohol with the cayenne pepper and just pat it on. They call that like a liniment. So you just put it on like 3, 4, 5 times a day for about 3. I would say you put it on every day, like 3, 4 times for like 2 weeks. And then after that, you do it once or twice a day. And then the next 2 months, you just put it on once a day. And usually within 3 months, it's cleared. But to me, that seems like it takes forever. One thing that I would also do is get some milk thistle seed, grind it up, and take a tablespoon a day.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Julie.
Yes.
That's the final question. We are going to go ahead and close.
Okay.
Yeah. So Katrina.
All right, well, thank you very much for the opportunity and the privilege to be able to share these simple things. And I hope that everyone was able to get a good grasp of some of these things so that way you can utilize it.
Thank you so much. It's really very well done. Thank you. Sister Katrina.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor for me to deliver the vote of thanks as one of the events of the Health Emphasis Week. We have gathered virtually to learn more about natural remedies with Dr. Julie Hayek. First, I would like to thank Sister Sandra Seeley for invoking God's presence to bless this evening's proceedings, as we give thanks for all blessings bestowed upon us. I would also like to thank Sister Janet Babb for offering the welcome remarks to this evening's presentation, and for the upcoming closing remarks. To Dr. Julie Hayek, we at the Mile and a Quarter Seventh-day Adventist Church extend our appreciation to you for delivering the keynote presentation and reinforcing the need to strengthen one's immunity naturally and how to boost the body's natural defenses. I would also like to express gratitude to Elder Sister Hosea Griffith, who will provide the closing prayer. Thank you to the team at the Mile and a Quarter Seventh-day Adventist Church for their continued support, and to everyone who were here virtually this evening to help celebrate Health Emphasis Week. May God continue to bless all of you, and I wish you a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shall we pray? Father in heaven, we are indeed grateful for the natural remedies that you've provided for us when you created this world. We know that even though our world has been marred by sin and things are not exactly as you intended them to be, we can find healing properties in the trees of the field, the herbs, in water, and in the sunlight. And so, Lord, we ask that you help us to always seek that which you have made for our good, and help us also to be temperate in our use of those things. We thank you for the way your messenger, Dr. Hayek, has spoken to us this evening and interacted with us. Sometimes we are so used to doing things a certain ways, but we have been challenged. Help us to use the resources made available to us. And if there needs to be any change, give us your wisdom, and may your Holy Spirit impress upon us the need to follow all your precepts. Help us not to be hearers only, but also doers, so that by our lives, our influence, our health messages, that the information gained from sessions such as this, that we may share and tell others so that they too can be informed and enlightened. We ask, dear Father, that you continue to abide with us, bless our families, bless the management and staff of the Utilities Institute. Be with Dr. Julie and her team as they continue to spread the gospel message through health. And bring us again to this platform on Wednesday evening, where we can hear more of your word. This we ask in Jesus' name with thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And in closing, I would like to remind all of you of the events coming up. Join us on
Wednesday.
Join us on Wednesday night, the 6th of October, where you will hear from Pastor Victor Marshall on the topic forgiveness. And that starts at 7:30. And then on Friday night at 6:30, we have forgiveness number 2. And Pastor Marshall will be the speaker as well. And finally, on Sabbath morning, beginning at 9:15, a journey to the underworld. And that will be our final presentation done by Pastor Marshall. And I would say, don't miss these invitations. God bless and good night.
Thank you. Good night.
We need sound, Elder.
We finished?